News Central now this hour begins in Abia State, where 3 soldiers have been reportedly shot dead by gunmen at a military checkpoint in Ekenobizi, Umuopara in Umuahia South local government area. The incident, which occurred early on Wednesday morning, left commuters stranded and the community tense as the army has barricaded the scene of the attack. News Central's Chinwe Ugele reports.
Reached their locations or got closer to them had there been free access on their route since morning.
I guess around 7 o'clock in the morning.
And by that time, people were already packed?
Yes. Since that time, we are all here.
This road from Umuahia to Ekenobizi and environs are now a no-go area following the alleged killing of soldiers at the military checkpoint at Ekenobizi in Umuahia South local government area of Abia State.
No, it's like the road is closed towards that side where the scene happened. It's like they've shut down the road presently.
So we are reaching here. So I saw many trucks parked. So I asked, then said there's a problem in front. There's a checking point, army checking point. So there's all those boys come and tag them or whatever. So kill some of them. That's why they are packed. Me too, I packed too.
Unofficial report says 3 soldiers were shot dead by some gunmen who ambushed the soldiers in the early hours of Wednesday. But the Joint Task Force Southeast has, however, confirmed that 2 of their officers lost their lives in the gun duel while trying to repel attacks by the gunmen. The road is abandoned and commuters who do not have alternative routes have been forced to park their vehicles along the way in neighboring communities. We have stopped at this juncture because down there where the incident happened at that checkpoint, the military had already cordoned off the area, and so there's no access to Imo and to Abia from that end. The alternative route to Owerri is a longer distance and costs more.
That our driver has to go all the way to Umuahia before proceeding to Owerri. For us, we can just, it's like taking 2 sides of a triangle instead of taking the hypotenuse, you know. So it's going to cost more time, more fuel, and a lot of people who are going to use the same road.
Economic activities are equally grounded as people will express concerns about the development.
About 2 or 3 because of that and how stars. So because of people fear, the thing I got is barrier.
Most akpochi manu na ndị army nwere issue with the whether or not government or something like that. So some of the drivers, no one or any of them couldn't make a move today. So you can see everywhere businesses can see. So when they like it, take the risk because anything can happen.
The fear of a reprisal from the military is a major concern for the locals.
As a matter of fact, we have been seeing some military vehicle passing up and down. We don't really know what is happening at the moment.
A statement by the Joint Task Force signed by Jonah Unakalu says the attackers fled as their vehicles were seized. The security advisor to Governor Alex O.T. MacDonald Oba could not be reached for comments on the development. In Umuahia for News Central, I am Chinwe Ugele.
Now, some members of Ekenobizi community, Umuopara, Umuahia South local government area of Abia State, Southeast Nigeria, are on the run for fear of a reprisal from the military. 2 soldiers were allegedly gunned down on Wednesday by unknown gunmen at the military checkpoint there. Since the incident, the military is taking over the scene, barring commuters from using the road. News Central's Chinwe Ugele joins us now from Ekenobizi with an update. Good afternoon, Chinwe. Chinwe, if you can hear me, what's the latest update from where you are? All right, we'll go to Chinwe very shortly, but still on insecurity, the National Human Rights Commission says between January and September 2024, 1,463 people were killed by non-state actors, while 1,172 Nigerians were abducted. The month of May recorded the highest number of fatalities, with 298 deaths, while March saw the highest number of kidnappings, totaling 499. These statistics were presented at a workshop in Abuja, organized by the NHRC and the European Union. NHRC Senior Human Rights Advisor Hilary Ogbonna highlighted the rise in human rights abuses, attributing it to the state's failure to protect its citizens. He also noted a disturbing trend of law enforcement officers being targeted, with 7 policemen killed in January alone. Earlier on, we're joined by security expert Augustine Ega to help us understand this.
Making progress, knowing where we are coming from. But it's very disturbing that we see ourselves going backwards after the nation has been through a lot. Some of the issues I will raise is like everybody, especially those at the highest decision making, should always take intelligence reports quickly and act on it before it escalates. Especially, I'm talking about, I'll start from the terror group that has just emerged, another one that has emerged in Sokoto. Sometimes when the field workers, the ground operation people get this information and escalate it, there's always a delay at the top to designate these organizations as a terror group so that they can easily reduce their capabilities. But unfortunately, they delay until they grow in their capabilities and begin to attack the poor citizens.
Now, the Inspector General of Police, IGP Kayode Egbetokun, has banned security aides and escorts from accompanying VIPs into polling booths and collation centers during the governorship election in Ondo. In a statement issued on Thursday, the Force Public Relations Officer Olumuyiwa Adejobi stated that Egbetokun has implemented comprehensive security measures to ensure a peaceful, transparent and credible election. According to him, Egbetokun has deployed Deputy Inspector General of Police Sylvester Alabi as the coordinating DIG for the election to oversee the implementation of security strategies and to maintain law and order throughout the electoral process. The IGP also announced the appointment of Tunji Disu, a Commissioner of Police, as the CP Election, and Bennett Igwe, an Assistant Inspector General, as the AIG. Now, the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, has announced robust security measures for the Ondo off-season governorship election on the 16th of November 2024. DIG Sylvester Alabi will coordinate security efforts, while AIG Bennett Igwe and CP Tunji Disu will oversee election security. A major measure includes a restriction on all vehicular movements from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. on election day, except for essential services. Security aides and escorts will be banned from accompanying VIPs to polling stations, and unauthorized security personnel will be prohibited. The police also urge citizens to report suspicious activities and will collaborate with the military to ensure a peaceful, transparent election process. Special provisions would also be made for individuals with mobility challenges. Now, in the meantime, the Court of Appeal in Abuja has disqualified Olushola Ebiseni as the Labour Party's candidate for the 16 November 2024 Ondo State governorship election. A 3-judge panel unanimously ruled in favor of an appeal brought by the Labour Party, overturning a previous Federal High Court decision that recognized Ebiseni and Ezekiel Awude as the party's candidate. Justice Hama Barka, delivering the lead judgment, confirmed the disqualification. This follows a ruling by Justice Emeka Nwite of the Federal High Court, who had upheld the validity of the Labour Party's second primary election, which had previously nominated Ebiseni and Awude. To discuss this, we're now joined by Monday Mawa, a legal practitioner and a member of the Labour Party. Hello, Monday. Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us.
Good afternoon. Good to be again.
All right, I would like to ask, what were the primary legal arguments that were made by the Labour Party that led the Court of Appeal to disqualify Olushola as its candidate?
Well, I think if you have been following what has been happening in Ondo carefully, I actually expected what happened yesterday, long time ago, that it will happen. And the reason is so simple. This boils down to where some of us that we've been clamoring for all along, that the right thing should be done in Labour Party. We are all stakeholders in Labour Party. Now, the primary election was conducted in Ondo State by the Abure-led faction of the Labour Party. And then I think that primary produced Mr. Olufemi rather, beg your pardon, and his candidate, and then he also picked a running mate. Their name were submitted to INEC. Now, along the line, from nowhere, the critical committee led by Comrade Owaba came up with another name and said, oh, they have done substitution. Unfortunately, Section 31 of the Electoral Act is clear on issue of substitution. And the section provides thus that for a party a party that has a candidate that had already been nominated by a political party, for him to be substituted, the candidate by himself must write a letter in his own handwriting, signed by him, and submitted to the chairman of this party that nominated him. And then the party itself will take that letter and take it to the Independent National Electoral Commission, and then before they can do substitution, not later than 14 days of the happening event, and that is the provision of Section 33 of the Electoral Act. Unfortunately, if you have those documents, they purportedly said Mr. Olorunfemi signed, you will see that the letter, they call it letter of voluntary withdrawal as governorship candidate of Ondo, it was typed, my sister. Not written by Olorunfemi by himself. It was typed. And then if you look at where he was supposed to sign, they put a sign of his name or something. That in itself offends the provision of Section 31 of the Electoral Act, because that letter was not written in the handwriting of Mr. Olorunfemi and was never submitted personally by him to the National Chairman of Labour Party. So the Court of Appeal in the holding yesterday said that there is no proper evidence that the man who was purportedly substituted actually signed a letter by himself withdrawing for another candidate whom they purportedly substituted. I think that was the judgment of the Court of Appeal yesterday. And to me, as painful as it is, that is the correct position of law. That is the law.
Okay,
so you can't just, yes.
All right, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but how does this Court of Appeals decision impact the Labour Party's strategy and the preparation for the November 16, 2024 governorship election in Ondo State?
It's going to affect us negatively. The reason is this. As it stands now, election is just a few days, it's on Saturday from here, that's 3 days away. So today is Thursday, Thursday is already gone, let's say 2 days away. And the people are now getting to know again now that, oh, it's no longer the candidate they were talking about before, that is now Olorunfemi, who they initially knew was supposed to be the candidate. Now, within the period of 3 days to election, we are now going to be trying to sell to the election, the voters of Ondo State to say, well, Olorunfemi that we were thinking has been removed before is now the candidate. That is a confusion in itself that we have created just because some persons just want to have their way at all costs, notwithstanding the provision of the law. So it's unfortunate. It's going to affect our party and the chances of our party in Ondo State negatively. We must not deceive ourselves.
So at this moment, who is the candidate of the Labour Party? Just so we're clear.
By virtue of the judgment of the Court of Appeal yesterday, which is now the succeeding judgment on the set aside, Olorunfemi is the candidate of Labour Party for Ondo State. His name is Ayodele Olorunfemi Festus, is the candidate of the Labour Party for the gubernatorial election in Ondo State coming up on the 16th of this month.
All right, Monday Mawa, legal practitioner, thank you so much for joining us and discussing this with us.
Thank you for having me.
You're still live with us on the news. We'll go on a short break, but when we come back, Edo governance, Governor Okpebholo dissolves board, sacks political appointees. All this after the break. Many thanks for staying with us. Now we head to Edo State, where the newly inaugurated government has approved the dissolution of the executive boards of agencies and parastatals in the state's public service with immediate effect. And this was contained in a statement by the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Fred Itua. According to the statement, the Governor ordered all affected appointees to hand over all government properties in their possession to the most senior public officer in their respective ministries, departments, and agencies. Now, in the meantime, reactions have been trailing Monday Okpebholo's inaugural address following his swearing-in as the new governor of Edo State. His speech emphasized economic reform, foreign investment, security, employment opportunities for unemployed youth, and infrastructure development, among other policy statements aimed at bringing stability and growth to Edo State. News Central's Austin Azu, who spoke to a cross-section of respondents in Benin City, the Edo State capital, reports that they urged the governor to prioritize addressing the state's infrastructural deficits rather than engaging in a blame game on his first day in office.
Looks as if they have been nursing some anger, and it was an opportunity to vent it. The issue of unsworn judiciary members who should have been high court judges, the issue of members of the House of Assembly who were not sworn in. Maybe that's not the real place, let's face it, to throw up such things. It just shows you're coming from a kind of background.
To me, I don't see any new thing coming out from what the governor just said yesterday. He said they want to probe the activities surrounding the lawmakers that were not inaugurated. This thing has happened how many years ago? The governor doesn't need this. It's a waste of time. To me, it's a waste of time. If you start on a clean slate, let the state move forward. I don't see anything good coming out from that probe, if he's going to do it.
But my advice to Mr. Governor in this respect is that as soon as he's seated in office, he should try to consolidate on the achievements of the past administrations, because governorship is about what you call it, development and the welfare of the masses.
Now, the Minister of Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has dismissed claims insinuating that the current administration is attempting to influence the judiciary by providing residential accommodation for judges. The minister, while speaking on a range of national issues during a media parley in Abuja, said judges must be provided with the best of welfare and working tools so they can discharge their duties with the highest sense of responsibility and transparency. News Central's Amadine Uyi reports.
It was a media parley to discuss national issues affecting the nation. The Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, first cleared the air on the construction of residences for judges, dismissing claims that the attempt is aimed at influencing the judiciary.
If you really want to talk about independence of judiciary, you must make it such a way that they cannot be influenced or politically manipulated. Their salary should be increased. Even as they retire, they collect and tax as the same way. In that case, you are trying to move them for political manipulation. So people should not, instead of you commending the effort of the tribunal administration, you turn around to say, oh, you are doing this to buy over, I mean, it's madness.
All right. In the last few weeks, we've seen demolition of shanties. In fact,
you visited one of the shanties and engaged with those who were there. We want to know, why is it a matter of policy by the FCT administration to pull down these shanties for whatever reasons?
Shanties makeshift. You don't even know those who are there. People commit crime, they go and hide under shanties. You can't tell who is living here, who is not living here. You don't even know who they are. Under the trees, under the cashew nut trees, all kinds of people. We have a rail line this way. We have a rail line this way at the center, which is very easy for criminals to block the trains. And then you come and say, oh, train going to Kaduna has been blown off. Train going to government is doing nothing. And you want us to fold hands to allow criminals to go and hide there to begin to commit all kinds of atrocities.
He also spoke about the crisis in the People's Democratic Party, accusing the chairman of the PDP's Governors Forum and Governor of Bauchi State of instigating the crisis.
But I was the person who said that Agri National Chairman should complete the tenure of IU for the next convention before we elect a chairman. It was better. When the last neck met, that became very, very cantankerous. It was also better who supported the national, supported people to go to court for interpretation of who, whether you can complete the tenure of IU or really coming from the same soil.
He called for unity in the PDP, saying only a united house can succeed as an effective opposition. In Abuja for News Central, I am Amadine Uyi.
Now, educators in Nigeria say providing equal learning opportunities, particularly through competitions, play a pivotal role in national development. And this was highlighted at a recent EduState competition organized to provide educational opportunities for low-income schools in Lagos. News Central's Omolola Ololade reports.
There is a long-standing perception among educators and economists about competition improving school market performance. While students from elite schools have opportunities to perform on big stages, students from low-income schools may not have the opportunity to do the same. It is on this premise that the Regalo Foundation organized its first EduState quiz competition to bridge the gap in educational access while providing learning opportunities for students from low-income schools.
A lot of schools in these low-income communities don't have, or they don't get to experience and perform on a stage. That they don't get to compete with other bright or bigger schools, let me put it that way. So we brought about this competition to be able to give them that room, give them that stage, give them that opportunity to also sharpen their minds and be able to stand out.
While educational competitions provide tremendous opportunities and incredible rewards for students, teachers believe it's an eye-opener for tutors.
So the kids is actually an eye-opener. To the teachers, it means we still have lots of work to do with the children, most especially when it comes to their pronunciation.
But nevertheless, let's always try as much as possible to prepare our students ahead of any competition. It's an eye-opener, and we should continue to intensify in all what we do as an educator and also as a school.
Some of the students share their excitement as they emerge winners. They, however, believe winning is the only reward for their hard work and preparation.
Actually, I did not expect to win this competition, but on getting there, I make sure I was very, very calm. So, and glory be to God, very happy.
Actually, we just started a few days ago, or we came out as a finalist, but not the winner yet, which was very nice. At first, I was anxious, but at the end, I came out all good, and it was nice, and I had a lot of experience. I learned a lot.
Creating equal educational opportunities for children regardless of their socioeconomic background remains crucial to the development of the nation, hence the creation of policies to ensure equal and accessible education. In Lagos for News Central, Omolola Ololade.
In Nigeria's northeast, Borno State government has pledged to support young genius Musa Zana Mustafa's Kanuri Artificial Intelligence Initiative. The government's decision to support the young genius and the project was made public after a report by News Central Television highlighted the potential of the platform to bridge generational gaps and safeguard endangered cultural practices. News Central's Moru Kirawa, who has been following up with the development, completes the report.
Musa Mustafa, an innovator, developed the artificial intelligence platform aimed to promote and protect the traditions and history of the Kanuri people, including the legacy of the ancient Kanem Borno Empire. Borno State Commissioner for Information and Internal Security takes a look at the technological initiative and expressed the government's commitment to making it an integral tool for cultural preservation.
We are going to see how we are going to support, build up the app and see if we can bring it into the mainstream.
The government highlighted the importance of the project in safeguarding traditional knowledge, emphasizing that Mustafa's work is a step toward a digital future for the region's culture.
We keep an eye on Musa Zana, on his education, as well as the app that he just developed. The future is going to be very, very interesting for him and for our state too. As you can see, we are coming out of the insurgency. A lot of interesting things are happening. Young people are coming on with good ideas.
The young innovator, Musa Mustafa, who has been admitted into the University of Maiduguri, following News Central's reportage, speaks about the development.
The state is going digital, and this is what is needed in the 21st century. Now that the government has intervened, it will be crucial for every individual to go for digital skills, and one of it is artificial intelligence.
Family of the young innovator, Musa Mustafa, had this to say.
This is the best step so far the Borno State government has taken towards improving this artificial intelligence and the preserving what this young boy has done and bringing it to limelight.
So I'll be very grateful if the government would find admission for him and scholarship for him to study, particularly in either MIT or Harvard University. I know he has the capability to do that.
The Artificial Intelligence Initiative by young Musa is seen as a major step in leveraging technology to protect cultural identity and history, with the government hopeful to provide more support. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umoru Kirawa.
Now, the news continues in West Africa, where Senegal's legislative election is just days away, with voters heading to the polls on Sunday, November 17. Senegalese voters will elect a new parliament this weekend, with President Bassirou Diomaye Faye's government aiming to gain the power needed to advance promised reforms. Political analyst Mbaye Thiem has examined the key issues surrounding the election, particularly the ruling party's bid to secure a parliamentary majority. The president, who won 54% of the vote in March, has pledged economic transformation, social justice, and anti-corruption measures, raising hopes, especially among the youth. However, alongside Prime Minister Ousmane Sonko, Faye has faced challenges, including slow economic growth, high inflation, rising unemployment, and youth migration to Europe. To gain a stronger mandate, the president cleared the way for snap elections by dissolving the opposition-led assembly in September.
Sur le plan politique, remporter les élections législatives leur donneront toutes les cartes, l'exécutif et le législatif, pour pouvoir mettre en œuvre ce qu'ils appellent le programme de rupture électorale. Les Sénégalais savent voter. Et en général, il est rare qu'ils élisent un président de la République et le dépouillent de l'outil qui lui permet de mener son projet. Le temps n'est pas suffisant pour créer une distanciation entre l'électorat qui a élu Diomaye Faye et l'électorat qui s'apprête à élire une majorité parlementaire. Je pense que de gagner Ousmane Sonko, quelque candidat qu'il soit d'un parti, ne peut pas se dépouiller aujourd'hui de son manteau de Premier ministre de la République du Sénégal, avec donc un niveau de responsabilité plus élevé. Ce niveau de responsabilité lui impose d'avoir un discours qui ne peut pas s'accorder avec la violence, un discours qui répond aux problèmes, aux besoins.
Now, in southern Africa, we understand that clashes with police broke out in Mozambique on Wednesday during fresh protests against disrupted or disputed election results. 2 people were reportedly killed, and the violence forced the closure of the main border with South Africa. On Wednesday, opposition leader Venancio Mondlane called for a new round of protests to begin after the election authority declared that the Frelimo party, which has been in power since Mozambique's independence from Portugal in 1975, had won the October 9 elections. A police crackdown on protests against the vote, which Mondlane claims was rigged, has already resulted in the deaths of at least 30 people. Now, demonstrators have vowed to return to the streets on Thursday and Friday. We now head to the east of the continent, where rights group Amnesty International claims that French military equipment is being utilized in Sudan's bloody civil conflict against the terms of a UN arms ban. According to the group, the United Arab Emirates provided trucks with French equipment being used by the Rapid Support Forces militia in the Darfur region to fight the army. French authorities have not responded to the accusations, while the UAE has previously denied arming the RSF. Amnesty says the weapons could be used to commit or facilitate serious rights violations, adding that the French government must ensure the companies immediately stop the supply of this system to the UAE. Many thanks for staying with us on the news. Now, hundreds have protested against extortion in Peru, clashing with police in Lima as the city hosts the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit this week. Demonstrators, including unions of bus drivers and shopkeepers, are demanding government action to tackle the rising extortion affecting their businesses. The unrest coincides with a gathering of major world leaders, including the U.S. President Joe Biden and China's President Xi Jinping, both set to attend the APEC summit. The protest organizers plan to rally again on the 14th and 15th of November, hoping to draw attention to the issue during the high-profile event. The protests underscore growing concerns over safety and extortion affecting citizens across Peru, particularly small business owners.
Bueno, me encuentro aquí indignada porque cada día este gobierno y este Congreso, que es una mafia criminal, porque solo hace leyes a favor de la delincuencia y abandona al pueblo. Diariamente tenemos muchos peruanos asesinados y víctimas todos los días.
El APEC no es desarrollo para nosotros, el APEC es un saqueo para el Perú. ¿Ya? Eso tienen que entender todos los países y todos los presidentes, ¿no? Y los negociantes que han venido acá, ¿no? Porque son estos gobernantes que están saqueando al Perú y están rematando al Perú.
Me encuentro aquí por un derecho constitucional, señor, para hacerle reclamo correspondiente a las autoridades, tanto del gobierno central como del Congreso de la República. Ante esta ola de muertes a diario que hay en sicariato, que hay en extorsión, matan, roban y no hay quien controle esto, señor.
Now, despite renewed investor optimism in South Africa's economic prospects under the new coalition government, credit analysts say it will be years before the country can reclaim an investment-grade rating. South Africa's long-term foreign currency rating from S&P Global and Fitch remains at BB3 levels, below investment grade with stable outlooks. Improved business confidence, fueled by 8 months of consistent power supply and the promise of faster reforms, has not offset lingering fiscal risks. Analysts suggest significant economic growth and stabilization of public debt are needed before agencies like S&P, Moody's, and Fitch would consider upgrading their outlooks. Now, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited has inked a landmark 10-year agreement to supply natural gas to Dangote Refinery, a significant step towards bolstering local production and industrial growth. Announced on Tuesday, the deal between NNPC's subsidiary, NNPC Gas Marketing Limited, and Dangote Refinery will deliver 100 million standard cubic feet of gas daily to the refinery in Lagos, according to NNPC spokesperson Olufemi Shoneye. The supply includes 50 million cubic feet as a firm commitment and an additional 50 million on a flexible basis. This partnership aims to support the refinery's operations and strengthen Nigeria's domestic gas usage, marking a shared commitment to enhancing energy security and industrial capacity for the country. And now to sports, the 2024 Nigeria Premier Basketball League Final 8 kicks off today in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. 8 teams will compete in 2 groups with games starting at 10 a.m. All matches will take place at the basketball stadium in Old Port Harcourt Township, home of defending champions Rivers Hoopers. The opening match features Boko City Chiefs versus Police Baton, followed by Nile University versus Kwara Falcons at noon. The winning team will represent Nigeria in the 2025 Basketball Africa League. Still in sports, Rivers State government has expressed enthusiasm about hosting the top 8 basketball games in the state and has stated that hosting of the competition reinforces the state's emerging reputation as a sports hub in Nigeria. The Commissioner for Sports, Barrister Christopher Green, stated this at a pre-competition briefing, while also assuring that the state government is fully prepared to provide necessary security and logistics for the game. Now, South African Football Association, SAFA, the president Danny Jordan, alongside his co-accused SAFA Chief Financial Officer Groni Luyo and businessman Trevor Nettling, have each been granted bail of 20,000 rands by the Palm Reed magistrate. The court in South Africa with their next court appearance scheduled for December 5th. Now, the charges on the SAFA trio stem from an intensive investigation by the Hawks into an alleged 1.3 million rand fraud and theft. Magistrate Philip Venter allowed Jordan to retain his passport, noting that it might be necessary for him to perform his duties as SAFA president. Jordan was also ordered to provide the investigating officer with a written itinerary at least 72 hours before departing the country, and any travel must be limited to official SAFA duties. And that's all on the news at this hour, but before we go, let's take another look at some of our major stories. We told you that at least 3 soldiers have been killed in an attack by gunmen in Abia State. We also mentioned that the police have announced measures aimed at ensuring peaceful conduct of Ondo governorship election. And finally, we told you that clashes have erupted in Mozambique amidst fresh protests over disputed election results. You can watch News Central live on DSTV, channel 422, StarTimes, channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Blessings Mosugu.